Good morning. Good morning. As you get here, make sure you say hello. Let me hit live in these different places and get us going. All right, hit live here. Beautiful. All right, I think we're live. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you this morning? Make sure you say hello when you get here. Let me do one more thing. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Oh, I need to do one more thing. I don't know if I can. Let's see. There we go. All right. Beautiful. All right. So it's wonderful, wonderful to be here this morning. And good morning, Stacy. You're up early. You must be getting some good sleep. And I will say, I went to bed a little bit early last night, and I feel so good today. Good morning, Kimmy. Good to have you here. And I'm super excited this morning with, hold on a second. Something's moving my phone around here. But the affirmation in the journal prompt this morning is kind of fun. Um, it's great to see you guys saying hello to each other. And I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods this morning, but it's beautiful here, nice and sunshiny. It's going to be about 85 degrees today. And I think the humidity is not quite as high, so that'll feel a lot better than yesterday. So what's it like in your world? So is it, and I know it's earlier for you, Stacy, but is it sunshiny? What's going on? Yes, she is putting her billboard out. That's right, Stacy. I just had her on my podcast, and so I'm going to be, as soon as I get all the info together, I'm going to be putting that out for her, and hopefully, sunny, Kimmy, it's sunny at your place. Good, but I'm so excited that she is getting her billboard out. It's beautiful. Still dark there. Yeah, it's a little earlier for you, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let me copy and paste this. Good morning, Wendy. It's gorgeous where you are, I bet, because you're at the beach. All right, so today's affirmation is, and before I forget, Wendy, I did notice that you sent an email. I have not had a chance to look at it and respond, but I will sometime today, I promise. So today's affirmation is, I embrace challenges as quests to unlock my potential. Doesn't that change everything about a challenge, right? So when things pop up in your life, instead of it's like, oh no, it's like, all right, I'm getting some unlocked potential right here. I mean, doesn't that really just feel so much better to look at a challenge as that? So I love this morning. And we face challenges all the time at different degrees, right? Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small. And the interesting thing to me is sometimes the small ones feel really big in the moment. And then when you look back later, it's like, that really wasn't that big a deal. But anytime we're in the middle of a challenge, it feels bigger than it is, right? But the beauty of this is that we start looking at it as our quest to unlock our potential. And who doesn't want to have a quest to unlock our potential, right? So then we may start looking for, ooh, what does that feel like? What does that feel like? There have been times in my life that even a small challenge would just knock me off my feet, right? And then I would get into that pity party place of, why me all the time? Why is it why? And so as I really, wow, superheroes to the quest. Yes, yes. That's beautiful, Wendy. And we probably, it would be great if we'd go ahead and grab our superhero name and our picture and put it in our mind and really start visualizing it as we're doing our daily activities and our quest, right? And I was on a Zoom call yesterday in a class, and I thought it was interesting because she was talking about, she didn't say your superhero, but she said your alter ego, that when you were faced with doing something that was stepping out of your comfort zone, you would drop into this visual of yourself. And I thought, wait, we've been talking about that already. Beautiful. And some of us have already created our AI pictures of our superhero. And so we're on the quest already to unlock all of our potential. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be something big, but anything that's going on most of the time in the moment feels big. And so giving us the perspective of it's a good thing that we're dealing with, right? Because, one of the things I talk about in my podcast is that we live a mosaic life, that it's all the bits and pieces of things that have happened in our lives that make us who we are. And you change any one of those things, then it's like if you had been faced with this one thing and you chose a different path, where would your life be? And it's interesting because right now on TV there are okay. I think she's saying your episode. Kimmy's asking, oh, here, what? It's the episode that you did with me, so that when I get that one out into the world, I think that's what she's talking about. Um, anyway, what was I saying? Oh hell, what was I saying? Let me have a sip of my coffee. Maybe it'll bring it back. Nope, that didn't bring it back. So I'm not sure. Does anybody know what I was just saying before I answered Kimmy's response on there? Yeah. So help me out here. So what was I saying? Do you remember before I changed direction there? Because it was a good thought. I just don't remember what it was. Change of direction. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kimmy. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Wendy, and you can catch the replay later. And like I said, I will be emailing you a little bit later when I have an opportunity to get in front of that and look and see what you said and what you're asking for. All right. Beautiful. Well, what I was saying is right now there are so many shows and movies about this same thing. And there have been some years ago that I remember seeing, but it's like there are just a whole bunch of them right now. So it must be in the collective consciousness, right? But it's like these different alternative realities to where you made this decision and then you have the opportunity to see how that would have played out if you'd made a different decision and how your life was. And so it definitely, when you look at it in those lenses that the movie industry and everything is giving us, then you kind of see how different it would be. And like one of my favorite ones from years ago was, oh gosh, what was it called? Oh hell, I can't even remember. But he was a very goal-oriented person in this, and he and the star of the movie, he made a choice. Instead of marrying the love of his life, he pursued his profession. And so he had the opportunity to go back later and see how it would have been different. And he wakes up one day and he's living the life that he would have had he made the decision to stay with this love of his life. And he really starts loving who he is in that place and loving how that felt. And everything was very, very different. And then suddenly he's back into his normal life where he was. And okay. But it's like to think that when we make decisions, it alters everything, right? But how beautiful it is that we get to make all of those decisions and it comes to this place right here, right now. And it's not only decisions that we made, but it's things that have happened to us along the way. They alter who we are, they alter. Yes, Family Man, that's it. I was thinking it was family something, but I couldn't remember it. And so thank you for that. Well, I guess I did an okay job of describing it because you knew what I was talking about. Nicolas Cage. I love that movie. I love it. And I almost wanted to have him stay in the family thing, but it was beautiful. And so I'm all the time reminded when I look back at some things that have happened in my life and I think, oh, if I just made this different decision. And I think, but I like where I am right now, and that would be different. So it's, yes, he is yummy. But if you enjoy who you are and you're happy with who you are, then you can look at all of those things that have happened in your life as beautiful things that directed you right here, right? And so it's an amazing process of seeing the gifts in all of those. And so that what that does is now when things come up, good, bad, the indifferent, right? We can embrace each and every one of those, that's the quest to unlock our potential, because it is, because all of those things that we've had in our life unlocked our potential. It had us grow to be something different, something more. And when we can start looking at all the avenues that the paths that we've been through, the symphony that we played, the people that have been in our life, and sometimes they taught us a lot of shit. I've got some of those, but hell, it was a great learning, right? It changed me, and it changed me for the better because I chose to take the better change, right? And a lot of times people get into these places where when something happens, it just brings them inside and they just stay there with the the what went wrong place instead of looking at where the potential came from, right? And so it's just in changing the power into you so that that event, that challenge becomes something that does unlock your potential. Embrace it, right? Look at it in a different way. Wendy McDowell, hi, I'm late to the party. Oh, honey, as long as you show up to the party, who cares if you're late? When I was in my partying days, you didn't show up early anyway. You always had to show up late, make an entrance. So here you are, you and your entrance. I love it. So I am sharing about the affirmation today. And it is, I embrace challenges as quests to unlock my potential, because, oh, that just feels so good to me to think of. Everything fashionably late. Yes, yes. What is the old saying? Better late than never. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull out the journal prompt. You ready? Everybody ready for the journal prompt? Let me take a sip of my coffee. All right, so our journal prompt. Whoops, where did it go? There it is. When you get your journal out, write about a recent challenge and how could it be seen as a quest or a milestone in your life story. So it is beautiful to go back and look at things that have happened maybe recently, that you can look at it with a different lens. Like we're trying to make sure that our lens of the world is as accurate as possible, right? Or at least it may be on the rose colored glasses side of things, because we want to see things in our life and in our world where it expands us and helps us, and we grow and we become, and maybe we learn a whole new instrument that we're putting into the symphony, right? We're just really, really bringing it. And it's so exciting to me to just think of things that way, because it is beautiful, right? Just think of all the musical notes that we have all around us playing all the time. And now we're grabbing at the ones that are just helping us with our quest, helping us to see life in this beautiful, brilliant way. Thank you, Wendy. And thank you, Kimmy. Yes, yes. All right. So what say you guys? Are you going to write some things today and see what challenges that have been going on in your life, and how maybe you can look at it as this quest, and how did it change things? And so I'm thinking right now, a challenge that I mean, I've faced so many challenges in the past few months, because it's like, as you're beginning to grow and become and getting out more, it's like it shows you the different layers of your onion, right? Because we're all layers of onions, Shrek. I love Shrek. Um, and so you do something and it's like, oh, that's glorious. And then you see another layer and it's like, okay, now I'm going to work on that one. And oh, that feels good. Oh, another layer. And so it's a growth process that we go through all the time, all of us. Now, some people, it appears that they never have any. And I think, who the hell are these people? Let's see. Plenty to pick from. Quest incoming. Makes my nerdy little heart so happy. Yes. I love it, Wendy. I love it. Um, so, I've had, Stacy knows this. I came into this journey with Stacy where I said, I don't have a voice. I can't speak what I want to say. I just feel held back and pushed down, and it was all of my own doing. It wasn't like anybody did all the pushing and the pulling and the right. It was me. And so that's how I joined her podcast challenge, to where now I have a podcast and I'm right in the precipice of 100 episodes. And it's funny because at one point, Callcast had this crash. And when they did, everything was removed from our portal thing. And it was like, holy smokes, and um, and he was able to get on there and put them all back, but the numbers got all mixed up somehow. And so at one point I thought I had almost 100 episodes, and I was still like 20 away, because I went back and I looked and there was several numbers that had gotten skipped. And so even though it already shows on a couple of places that I have 100 episodes, I do not. And so I am diligently focused on the ones that I have already in my queue that I'm putting up, and Kimmy's one I've got to get done. Yes, we have to have a party. um, but the beautiful thing is that I could go ahead and say I have 100 episodes, right? But I really don't, even though some places it looks like I do. So I made a decision that I'm going to do what's real, because that's what my podcast is about, the real, right? And not editing, not filtering, right? So I made sure that I'm looking to see exactly where I'm at, so that it'll almost look like I have 120 episodes when I hit that 100th spot. but I know in my heart that which one is the 100. And so I'm going to celebrate the hell out of that one. We will have a celebration and a party for damn sure. Let's see. So let's see. My quest has been getting topics together I want to talk about in my podcast. Yeah, I see that, but I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself to have topics because you know what your main focus is, and just trust that it's all going to be there. It's all going to come to place, because you don't have to do it that way unless you choose to. And if it feels like you're really struggling with that, maybe step back a little bit and say, just what do I want to talk about? How do I want to talk to people? And go from there. And what you say today may not be true tomorrow or next week, because when I started my podcast, it was I wanted to give myself a voice, right? And so my first few episodes were just me talking about things. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, I have an amazing story that a lot of it I didn't even share. When I started discovering other people had amazing stories that I wanted to learn what they did. I wanted to see how their life changed. And that was when my whole podcast started changing. Yes. And when you talk to people, Kimmy Nowak will come alive. Yes. It is so fun. Yeah. And so what is your alter ego, Kimmy? I can't remember what it is. Your superhero name. Remind me what that is in the comments if you don't mind. That helped me out. Your advice on doing the podcast. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't edit anything. And the funny thing is, like when I first started it, I knew I didn't want to edit. And one of the reasons was I was not that technical savvy, or I thought, but that's not true because I have learned so much, and I've even been helping others with some of their tech stuff. And so what we think about ourselves is not always true. It just means if we're feeling like we don't know how to do something, it's because we haven't tried, or we haven't tried enough, or we haven't had the right teacher. We haven't spent enough time with it, right? So we can do amazing things if we choose to, right? Cosmic Kimmy, yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to put on your Cosmic Kimmy outfit, the one that you have in your picture. You're going to put that outfit on when you get onto your podcast. And then you're going to say your little blessing, of, all right, I'm going to be here and I want to have an amazing conversation. Please just go ahead, and I surrender that it's all going to come together. And you just do it, because when you come from that space, you're authentic. You're really involved in the process. It's not so mechanical. And the interesting thing is, when I first started this, like I kind of got a little bit sidetracked, but when I first started my podcast, I knew I didn't want to edit. I didn't want to do that. And part of it was because one of the reasons I wanted to do my podcast, because I had edited my voice forever, always. And, and a lot of people didn't see that, but it was true. And so it was like, how can if I'm wanting to be authentically me, what does it say if I go in and edit what I say and what I do on the podcast? It just sounded like one didn't go with the other. So I just decided in my intro, I'm just going to tell them I don't edit. Just like life, I don't edit. And I have been really surprised recently, almost every single person that's been on my podcast. And these are people that I don't know from anything. They've been excited after they listen to my podcast to actually get on the podcast. And they say they love how I talk to them, because I look at it as I'm sitting on the sofa with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, and I'm just having a conversation, just like I do with people that come over that I don't know, right? You just have a conversation. Sometimes you interrupt because you say, wait, what did you just say? And I do that. And because it feels good. And in the beginning, I thought, it doesn't matter if anybody doesn't like it. It doesn't matter. And if I end up not having more guests, I'll talk myself. But I am having guests coming out the wazoo. I've got people booked into July, and that's without even an effort. That's people just coming to me. And so if you get into this place where, Kimmy, when you're your cosmic Kimmy and you're intuitively dropping in to you, that's what they come for. And so just be you, right? And then just do it. And it's going to change and morph into something else along the way, and just be open to it. All right. So that's me on the podcast, right? This wasn't supposed to be a podcast thing, but hey, it is what it is, right? Because look at it, as everything that you're going through, even trying to get this podcast off the ground and get the first few episodes and get it out there. And you can feel some angst a little bit because it's like, nobody's watching. What if nobody's watching? Well, who cares, right? And to this day, I have no idea. I do not even worry about it. And it's not to say I wouldn't really want it to grow so my audience can help to get people's voices out more, right? But the thing is whether I have a huge following or not, I love doing it. Like Stacy can attest to this. I say it's my self-care. It's the thing that I do that helps me free-flowing, authentic. Sounds great. Yes, that's it. Perfect, Kimmy. And if you follow that formula for you, the heavens will open and you will feel so amazing during this process. And like I was saying, the thing for me is that I love doing it. It's my self-care. It's a thing that I do for me. And do I get bogged down every now and then with, I've got to put this out. I got to put this out. Yeah, well, that's because I get so many in a row and then I'm doing other things. But it's a relaxed thing, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't get out right away. People that edit things sometimes don't get them out for a month. So if it takes me a week, who cares, right? It's part of the billboard, and it's relatable because you're getting your voice out. And I love how you say it's your self-care. Yes, yes. And I'm telling you, just that one thing from Stacy, the podcast challenge changed my life. I'm telling you, changed my life. And I don't want to cry, but there are people, damn it. There are people that show up in your life that change it in such an amazing way. And sometimes they don't even know it. And I can tell you that Stacy is one of those people for me. And it keeps happening because I'm in her accelerator program. And oh my gosh, if you're wanting to expand your life and your business, oh my God, it is an amazing thing. And I haven't reached mine. Now I'm curious. Yes, yes. There are people that show up and that change everything for you. And now one of the things that is amazing to me is I have guests on my podcast that they become one of those game changers for me. And the interesting thing is, like Wendy that's on here now, I met her on my podcast and now she's here. She's going to be doing a live in the group on Friday the 14th. And it's going to be amazing. You've got to show up for this because, oh my gosh, the things that she can teach you, it's just profound. I'm going to be there watching and learning right along with you. It is going to be amazing. And then I had a guest on my podcast the other day that, it's how these synchronies, tracked reels not reached. What does that mean? I'm not sure I get that. So excited for it. Yes, Wendy, so excited. Me too. I can't wait. But I had the synchronicities that show up in our life, this symphony that we have going all the time, the quest, the game, it is such a delicious place to be. And synchronicities, as you're focusing on this amazing changes in your life and looking at things different, things show up. And I have, those that know me know that I have been looking at and working on writing a book, right? And so I've got my note cards and I'm still adding to it, but I haven't really got it ironed in. And sometimes I give myself a little bit of like, you're do something, right? And then I get busy with things because I have a lot of hats that I'm wearing right now. And I know anybody that's an entrepreneur does the same thing. So it's not just me. However, it feels like sometimes one of my hats gets a little bit smaller and I have to just put it off to the side and say, okay, I'm not going to do that today. But what's interesting is I'm also writing a book with a friend of mine that we've been going through this process, and we're going to be doing a podcast about it, but we're writing a book, and it's all about this process that she and I've been doing for 2.5 years. And that has changed our lives. And so we're writing a book about that. So that's in the works. We're going to have a long weekend in September where we're going to a mountain cabin. We're going to be no tech, no anything. We're just writing, right? And I'm so excited about that. And then the other day I had someone that reached out to me that's also on StreamYard, and he wanted to be on my podcast. So I had him on my podcast. Oh my gosh, an amazing, amazing human. And, there are people that you connect with right away. And I connected with him. It was amazing. And he's not only a writer, an editor, a ghostwriter, but he has his own publishing company. It was like, what? And then he said, I was telling him about this book that I'm writing, and then I'm going to be doing this other one. And he said, if you want to connect and let's talk, we'll talk. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I mean, he does all of this stuff, and he has so many things that he offers his clients, and all these books, and and he was sending me some free stuff to look over, and I haven't had an opportunity to look over it yet. But oh my gosh, it's like the people that drop into your space that have exactly what you're desiring is beautiful. True story. So many irons, so many fires. Yes. But it's beautiful. I cannot imagine it, because I've had a few times in my life that the story of me was I went to work, even though I might have worked in a salon, I was still basically working for someone else. And I would get home, I watched TV and stuff. But then when I think back about it, just now as I said that, I'm thinking about that, and that is not really true, because the whole time when I was a hairstylist in the very beginning, you don't really make much money in the very beginning. And so I also had a cleaning business. And so on the days that I wasn't working in the salon or in the late afternoons, or sometimes I took a morning, I cleaned houses because I needed to make more money. And I loved going in and helping people to beauty up their space, right? Was hard ass work, but I did it. And then, I just said that a moment ago, and now I'm recreating it, because it's like, that's not true at all, because I had other jobs that I did. Like I did the cleaning. And then at one point I actually worked part-time at a convenience store while I was working in the salon. And, and then for a long time, and I still have an eBay store that, I don't do much with anymore. So every now and then I'll get a little message, whoops, somebody bought something from your store, because I don't even add anything to it anymore. I just still have stuff in there and people just buy it. And, and then I have I still have my salon space. I have my coaching. I have my podcast. And so I cannot imagine being a person that has only one or two hats on. What's that like, But I love my life. And sometimes, it gets really busy, and sometimes I may get just a touch overwhelmed, because it's like, I dropped the ball on that. And what's funny is I will share is when I was talking to Wendy on the phone, the Wendy that's here, Wendy, she said, how do you keep all this together? And I said, well, I have this calendar over here and I have this calendar over here. And it just works, right? Famous last words, right? And the next day, all of a sudden, I thought, wait a minute. When we talked, we were supposed to be talking about her doing an offer in my program, and we talked about Facebook. And so I thought, oh my goodness, I need to reach out and say, we did things. Hey, good morning, Wendy. Good to see you. I thought, let me reach out to her and say, I'm so sorry. This was what it was supposed to be and everything. And she messaged me back and she said, what are you talking about? Basically, because I had only talked to her about going live in the Facebook group, because there was another person that I had been talking to about putting an offer in on the program. And I was having that conversation. And then when Wendy and I started talking, all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute. So I had to message her and say, oh, sorry, do over. Remember when you said, how do you keep it together? I don't always. So as I'm thinking here, you've got some powerful stuff. Do you want to not only do something in the Facebook group, but do you want to have an offer to put in my program? And she graciously said, yes. But, a lot of times we drop a ball. It doesn't matter. You just pick it up and you keep going, right? And so it's beautiful. That was a challenge that faced me. It was like, I felt like, I just got through telling her I did this because how I did this. And then suddenly it's like, you don't do it as good as you think you do sometimes. And so that was beautiful. And she was very gracious when I reached out and said, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to, to say that. That was so Wendy, did you feel like I was going crazy when I sent you that message? So let me look and see what we got here. All right, so I'm going to go back to the affirmation. All right, the affirmation is, it was very reassuring, actually. Oh, beautiful, glad. Like I tell you all the time, I am not perfect by any means. All right, so our affirmation for today is, I embrace challenges as quest to unlock my potential. Make sure you put that on your sticky notes, your index cards, your screensaver on your phone. Put it on your mirror. Do it somewhere. Solidarity. Yes, yes. Put it somewhere that you can really, really think about it and say this often during the day. I am, and give it some oomph. Don't just say it. Give it some feels. If you need to, give it some volume, whatever you need to do to make it inside, to feel it in your soul. I embrace challenges as quest to unlock my amazing potential, because there's so much potential there. And there's so much that we have not uncovered, that we have not opened up, we have not expressed. And it's time. It's time to start that quest of letting your inner diva out, right? All right, so then our journal prompt, write about a recent challenge and how it could be seen as a quest or a milestone in your life story. I really needed to hear this today. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Wendy. And it's so interesting how whatever's coming up for me in the mornings and I create the affirmation in the journal prompt, there's always at least one person that it's like, I needed that. And that's what I'm always looking for. So I actually sit down and say, okay, God, give me the wisdom to have the right words and the right message. And then I think about it. And then that's when the affirmation in the journal prompt comes. And sometimes I do that and I create a bunch of them at one time, have them in my notes, and then I'll pick from one of those. And they're all different. And I pick out which one is speaking to me today. And then sometimes I change it. First, as soon as I get sat down here in front of you, it may change. And then I'm creating something else. And so it's a beautiful symphony of connecting with myself and with you guys. And so I love it. And so you too, Wendy. Oh, beautiful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So make sure, get your journal out, get your notebook out, write the date there, put your affirmation and your journal prompt together, and then take a few moments of silence to just drop into this space of listening to your inner voice, to your God voice, the universe, and just brain dump whatever comes up for you. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday, because we need a measuring stick to see our growth, because most of it goes completely unnoticed. And so this is a way for you to have something to look back at and see what was going on for you, right? On what is today? June 7th, 2024. What was going on for you that day? What did you see as a challenge? And what was that quest? How did you change your life story? What was going on? Because you won't remember in 6 months about today and what this quest was, and this affirmation and this journal prompt. But when you come back and you look and you see, oh my gosh, the amount of growth that I have had, the amount of quest and experiences I have had that created this amazing being that I am, it's going to feel glorious to look at it and see the difference that things have made. And I promise you, if you do these things every single day, you can't stop growing. You can't stop becoming who you want to be. It's like the thing that I say all the time is, if you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're not changing for the better, you're sliding backwards, right? Because there's no such thing as staying constantly where you are. You're either changing for where you want to go, or you're changing where you don't want to go. And so the only constant in life is change. And so this helps you to give it direction. And it doesn't mean that it changes overnight. Hell no. But that's a good thing too. We want to relax into our changes. We want it to just become who we are. Doesn't that feel good? That now we've done this affirmation in this journal prompt. And so this embracing challenges as quest to unlock your potential and filling this out, that becomes your new normal. So from here on out, you're just going to naturally be looking at challenges in your life as this quest, right? And it's imperceptible that change happens. You may think at some point, wow, I used to think these were challenges, and now look at how I feel about them. But you may not remember where that came from, because it's such a slow, steady rhythm and flow, and that just becomes you. And what we want to do is help you, or what I want to do is help me embrace these changes and internalize them and grow and become. And I wish the same for you. And so I sent out an email yesterday. I hope everybody received it. And it is about it was a recap of the masterclass that we did, and which was so much fun. We had a great time. So go in and watch that so that you can actually have fun, and you can do the visualization that I did, and you can do the game that Laura created for us, which was really a lot of fun. And like I said in the email, who knew a story about broccoli would be so like, oh, what's going on here? So it was so much fun. And it took some different directions that nobody was really expecting. And thank you, Ginger, for that, because it was like, wow, she just took it over here. And then Wendy was really good about creating this other scenario. And it was just amazing how we all played and worked together. And because it was in the middle of the day, to me, it was the middle of the day. And for some people that are on different time zones, it was definitely the middle of the day. We decided to do it again. And part of it is because we had so much fun. And a lot of the people who had signed up and wanted to come were not able to come to it because of the time. And so we thought about it and decided that we're going to do it on a Monday evening. So it's not this upcoming Monday. It is the Monday, the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing the masterclass again. And it's going to be amazing because each time is different because, let's face it, we are different. And we do have some things that we want to make sure we touch on. However, you actually asking questions and being part of it changes the direction of things. And so be there and live if you possibly can. And in the, I haven't created an event yet. I've just put in a jot form for you to sign up. So go ahead and check your email. If you didn't get that, then reach out to me and I'll make sure that I send you the link. And I will be creating an event in the group as well. But seems like sometimes people are not able to connect from the link. I don't know what's going on with that. But when you do the jot form, I actually send you an email that has the link in there. And so it just seems to connect a little bit better. So that's why I'm focused more on doing the sign up form. All right. So, and if you're watching in a different place and you're not part of this stand up and stand out community, which is amazing, then all you have to do is connect with me with going to VickyPoole.com, VICKIEPOOLE.com. And when you do, you'll be prompted with some questions. Make sure you answer all the questions. And that's the only way you get entered into the group. And so I would love to have you here. And for those that are watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Put hashtag replay and you can play full out with us as well. And what else did I want to say? Oh my gosh. I want to make sure that I tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you watch the replay or you're here live. I love you guys, and this community has become a safe haven, a beautiful spiritual community that I love dearly. And so I am so grateful that I get to be here and talk to you every single day. It is the highlight of my day. Thank you guys. Mwah.